that pain you're feeling, it could be a lot of things, but one thing it may likely be is the erosional force of life chipping off the excess parts of you that are superfluous and unnecessary to your better well-being. It's a process that is it's a marvelous thing. It's basically the essence of maturation, and it proceeds in earnest through our 20s and into our 30s, and begins to level off if you've really lived into your 40s, and you can get a little bit of a respite then. But those of you in the 20s and the 30s, you're in the thick of it, especially if you're really truly living. It's possible that you could find yourself a little hidey hole from the whole process and save yourself the trouble, but you won't really saving yourself much. I've been meaning to make this video for some time and haven't, because I was planning to use borrow my friend Softy Papa to help me out. I had this vision to make the video. I was going to go into the mountains, and I was going to go see Softy Papa. I'm always going up into the hills and seeing the various streams, and here's what I see. And anyone that's hiked in the mountains knows this as well. If you go down to by sea level at a nice mountain stream, and you look at the stones in the water at near sea level, they're beautiful rounded stones with all the rough edges all chipped away, beautiful smooth finish, like they've almost been in a tumbling machine. They take on almost the appearance of almost being a precious stone, even if it's just rough granite. Pardon me. It takes on a beautiful, it almost looks like something precious, even though it's just the simplest of all stones. Then, if you proceed further up the valley, following the course of the stream as it continues headward, you find that the stones become rougher, more coarse, less rounded, perhaps with fractures and sharper edges. You get higher and higher. This proceeds until you get up to the very headwaters of the stream itself. And I've done this many times in Softy Papa. You get up to a little waterfall or very top of the mountain up there, the valley, and you get up there. The stones, there are no rounded stones. They are all rough, jagged structures with sharp edges. You can actually use them like a knife and cut things with. That is you in your young years. I know it's a simple analogy. I love simple analogies. That's you in your 20s and your 30s. You're chip off the old block, so to speak. You've fallen off, and you begin your journey of life along the courseway of that stream headed towards the sea. As you go along, the bits and pieces are being knocked off of you, and as you tumble along in the floods of water that come, and you're knocked down in bits and pieces, and that's where the pain comes from. It hurts when those pieces are being knocked off. But in fact, what's happening is the excess bits of you that are superfluous and unnecessary. I love that word superfluous, because it describes something that is there, but we could do better without, perhaps. That stuff is being worn away through this process as you go along, and the pain is particularly acute in the 20s and the 30s, when this action is most consistent, especially if you're an aggressive liver, someone who actually gets out and really tries to eat up the essence of life. Like I said before, if you hide yourself away from these from the eroding forces of life, you won't experience that. He's got a cool motorcycle, see, he's doing it right there. He's basically at the 20 something. He's out there pushing the envelope, and he's going to get pushed a little bit back from that. There he is, with that cool motorcycle. That's part of what the 20s are doing. They're actually pushing the envelope, trying to see what fits, and they're getting knocked back. Society is pushing them back in a way, and they'll help round them off. Now, what's dangerous, though, is that it's possible for you to be broken wholesale. In addition to being eroded down to something beautiful, you can be broken in half. You can be fractured in such a way as that your integrity is lost, and that's a very real and true danger. And it's up to you to guard your integrity in some ways by using your smarts, your native intelligence, and your capacity, and the guidance of others. Look to your parents and those you respect to help you along the way. Although don't always heed their advice, as Thoreau once said, "Old wisdom for old ideas," or something like that. He said something like that. Anyway, I diverge. But you could be broken wholesale. Now, if you're lucky, though, what will happen is, as I said, through your 20s and your 30s, this painful process will proceed. And not all pain is related to this. There's lots of different causes for pain. This is just one type. As your character is being sloshed off, or whatever the case is, slouched off, knocked off, worn off, hit off, and then smooth in the process of smoothing. As that proceeds, it will lessen as you mature, because you'll get smarter. You'll figure out what to do. That's where being smooth is all about. You're more streamlined. You know how to proceed without making so many waves and getting knocked around. But the process never ends. And if you're really, really, really lucky, you'll wind up, and you will in the end. All of us do. So it's not a matter of being lucky. It's just a matter of of following that course of life, you will end up as beach sand, part of this semi-permanent structure that ebbs and flows with the force of nature and doesn't necessarily resist it or get carried along with it. It's more of an element of itself. You know, the beach is. Someone said in comments, I loved it. Someone left a comment recently talking about this very subject, and someone left a comment about the beach always being there. Even though the stones are eroded to sand, the beach remains, and that, if you're lucky, and you will become that way. It's just a matter of how you will get there and how long it will take, and we will all be there one day or another. So don't worry if you're feeling those pains a little bit. And I'm making this video because I had two events on Twitter with friends of mine today who basically made me think about this very subject. You know, to you guys, the pain that you're feeling may or may not be related to this. There's lots of different sources, but if it is, don't necessarily worry about it. It's just the pieces of you that you don't need anyway getting knocked off, and you'll be better off without it. You'll be more humble, more peaceful, more at peace, and more attentive to the actual needs of the world around you, that you can apply your best interest. Well, that's it for me now, friends. I'm going to sign off and finish off my little brewski here, and then I'm going to head on home. Wife's making a great dinner. Thought I'd come in and make a vid at the vent to basically address what I think is an important issue. Maybe someday I'll make that Softy Bubba vid too. Get him to help me out. See y'all later. Bye-bye. There's another one. See ya.